What's good, man? It's Ben. Same time, same place. Week and a day. Um, but yeah, let's get right into it. We know what the main topic today is: the NBA Finals. So, yeah, the Mavericks took care of business, winning in five versus the Timberwolves. I'll get into more detail about that. And then the Celtics, of course, swept the Pacers, and I'll get into detail about that, of course. But I guess I'll start with the Mavs game. Uh, Not the Mavs game, the Mavs series. Uh, I feel like a lot of people hopped on the Anthony Edwards bandwagon, blah blah blah, and that's real. Bandwagons are real. Like people that don't really take the time to see or pay attention to the game or watch specific teams during it's truly like during the regular season because like why do we always see these guys like in Anthony Edwards or let's say maybe anybody who's um, had the potential to be good, and they start to pop off during the playoffs. Like we see a lot uh, of people tend to not really be fans, and personally, as a fan of basketball, I watch regular season, in season tournament, playoffs, so I don't have to worry about not knowing who's good and who's bad. Like I pay attention throughout the entire season. I give my predictions before the season started. Talk about my predictions of the playoffs. Like I talk about whatever I saw, or like, of course, like I said, Ant was going to be a top two shooting guard in the league, and I know this series kind of hasn't proven my statement right. Let me pop that, but he, they're I don't. I'm gonna get into it later. People don't really realize that like the Mavs were more experienced than the Timberwolves, but not by that much. They just have two juggernauts on the offense of Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. Because look, if you look at it, like Ant, it's young guy, young bull, as we say in Hoopers. Um, like he's a young guy, 22, about to be 23. But like Mike Conley has experience. I expected more out of him. Mike, experience, he's been in the league 10 plus years, of course, 15 basically. Ant, can't really blame him, but when you're put into the situation to where they're comparing you to Michael Jordan, people expect you to perform. When you don't perform, they criticize you, and that's just the media for you. Jaden McDaniels and him and Ant are in the same boat. Jaden's solid, but like, what can he do when you have to guard? Game 4, he got into foul trouble in Game 5, and I think that threw the rhythm of the game off. Because in Game 4, he was guarding Kyrie, and Ant was guarding Luka, and they were able to get something going. But, yeah. Cat hasn't really been there, even though he's a vet. And Gobert really hasn't been there either. And then off the bench, you have Nikhil. Kyle Anderson's, he's a vet. He knows what to do. Nikhil, not really. Young guy. Nas, young guy, truly. Yeah, that's basically it off the bench, man, for them. And that's not a lot of experience, if you ask me. Mavs either, but like I said, Mavs, they got Luka, of course, he's been to the Western Conference Finals. Now he's going to his first NBA Finals. Kyrie's been to the Finals, won the Finals. Derrick Jones Jr., he's just solid, but I think he has experience. PJ, Lively, Gafford, those guys don't have the experience, but they've been put in the spot to where they just gotta do what they gotta do. They don't really have to worry about pressure. But yeah, that was a great series. Game 5 was very disappointing because like, how do they go from winning on the opponent's floor to Timberwolves? I'm talking about they go from winning on the opponent's floor to getting destroyed at home. That makes zero sense to me. That just makes no sense to me. I feel like if they would have won that, the coming back from 3-1, of course, would have been a viable assumption for a lot. But yeah, I don't know. Rudy Gobert, shout out Rudy, DPOY. I've watched him play basketball for two. I watched the last two games, like, basically in entirety. Last game I didn't watch. I watched till halftime because it was a blowout. But I watched Rudy and I don't get it, man. He's been in the league for a while, 10 plus years. How does he not have an offensive bag? He can't do a post hook, a baby hook. That's neither here or there. And on defense, he allows so many lobs. It's actually sad to watch. Like, he hedges screens. He tries to hedge a screen. And then, like, he doesn't get back, and it's an easy lob, and he's so focused on Luka because Luka likes to crab dribble. It wasn't meant to be. I'm not putting it on Rudy. Cat did the same thing. Cat would show and hedge at the logo and leave PJ for a wide open cut to the basket. But hey, that was their run. They know what they need to do. They need to build off of that and come back next year. But as for the East, shout out the Celtics. Took care of business. Jaylen Brown won Eastern Conference MVP. Of course, we know Luka won it for the West. Yeah, he went crazy. He had 20 points in the first quarter last game to get rid of them boys. But for the East, it was either Tatum or Brown. They both averaged 30 for the series. Tatum averaged 30, 10, and 6. Brown averaged like 35 and 5. But he came up big and clutch in Game 4, so I understand. Pacers. Shout out Pacers, bro. Shout out Andrew Nembhard. I was really saying he better than Tyrese Halliburton. Like, I was actually saying that. I was like, this dude is better than Tyrese Halliburton at basketball. Of course, he's not. But he came in, took over that role, and did better in it. I'm sorry. And he was putting up 9 assists in those last two games that Tyrese didn't play. People were like, I'm going to get to that. After I talk about this series, I'm going to get to that. But the Pacers have the Celtics and the Pacers were the top two offenses in the NBA this season. If people don't realize, they don't look at stats, they're just like, man, the Pacers are trash. Why did the Celtics not beat them by 30? They have a system so that, like, you get rid of Halliburton, you just put Nembhard into that system, and he thrives scoring. He's a good scorer. He's better on the ball than off the ball. So I don't get it. But yeah, they took care of business. Game 3 and 4 just showed why they are a championship contender. Being down 18 in Game 3, and then Game 4, like, it was looking down. Like, it was looking like they were gonna lose, and they just came back again and did it again. That's why I like both of these teams, the Mavs and the Celtics. I think it's gonna be a good series. But I think I'm gonna give my prediction, of course. But both teams showed that they could fight. And in Game 1 for the Celtics, that was enough for me. They fought back. Game 3 and 4, enough for me. Like, I know that they can win the chip. Mavs too. But yeah, great series. Nembhard stepped up. Like I said, people forget that he was actually tough in college. Like, people forget how good Andrew Nembhard was in college. Shout out Aaron Nesmith too. He showed up, stepped up in Game 4 especially. He's tough. Good wing. Good young wing. Siakam in the last 3:30. No touches, no points. They got to get him involved, man. Miles Turner, he's been... Bro, it's funny. Like, Miles Turner out here getting locked up by Derek White and Drew Holiday is the funniest thing to me. He's 6'11", 7 foot, whatever. And Derek White and Drew Holiday are the best guard defenders of basketball, of course. And they're on the same team, which is scary. But they're locking up a center. That's the thing. It's just funny. I think the Celtics have the best defense in the NBA. Even though they let up points. That's the thing. I'd rather a team like them who can close, but they have good enough defense to where if their offense isn't clicking, they trust in their defense and they trust in their clutch gene. But yeah. One thing I want to talk about now is how everybody's like, Oh, the Celtics had a Mickey Mouse run to the finals. Hey, a spade's a spade. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Be the 1 seed. Beat everybody else by 7 games. The top seed in the West, 57 wins. The Celtics, 64. Being the 1 seed. Like, I've never seen it. Of course it's the Celtics, the most hated team in basketball. But I've never seen people be bashed for winning. Like, the Celtics won the most games in the league. They were 20-7 against Western Conference teams. People are acting like because their run was so like, of course, a Heat team without Jimmy Butler, but it was different. I'm sorry. I think they're beating everybody healthy. I just think they are. And they don't even have Porzingis. That's the thing. That's the thing. That's the scary part. One of the scary parts about it. No Jimmy for the Heat. That's tough. We knew they were going to win that series. Second round. No Donovan Mitchell, but come on. People need to be realistic. Game 2 was they got cooked. But after that, I think the Celtics would have still made it out. And then the Pacers. Halliburton. But even with Hallie, they got cooked. It's just funny to see like the media and the fans or the bandwagons, because I feel like nobody, unless you're from Dallas or you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, had the Mavs going to the championship. Me personally, I had the Clippers or the Nuggets going out the West. I knew the Timberwolves would be good this season. I didn't know they were going to make that deep of a run. So on the other side, let's see. So we say that the Celtics have a Mickey Mouse run. Let's look at the Mavericks. I'm just trying to compare and contrast. The Mavs beat the Clippers in round 1. Who were they missing? Kawhi. Ooh. That's tough. That's a tough miss for the Clips. Like, they not having Kawhi, your best player, consensus top 10 player in basketball on your team, that hurts. Shout out Harden, he played his heart out, but Kawhi was needed for sure. I feel like that game that would have went to 7 if Kawhi was healthy, and I don't think that they would have won it that easily. But they started to show that like they had a chance to go to the championship in that series. And then round 2 versus the Thunder. People just were like, oh, they're healthy. They're not experienced. But again, they're the 1 seed, so people expect the Thunder they expected them to get them a run for their money, and they did. But that experience factor really showed when they just lost. Like, they were up, 16 at half, and still got eliminated in the elimination game. Like, that just goes to show that the Mavs have experience. And then the Timberwolves, they just cooked them. But at the same time, I don't think they have the experience either. But you can't blame the Mavs. They're tough. The Mavs are tough. They have Luka and Kyrie. Best backcourt that we've seen since Steph and Clay. Even though they're still in the league together, but they're not as dominant anymore. Now, I love this matchup. As a guy who picked the Celtics before the season even started to win the championship, I see a lot of flaws on both sides. And for me, I'm going to try to address what I see for both sides and how I think that could help or hurt the other side. So, for Dallas, we see a lot of ball work. What does that mean? We see a lot of ball screen work. And for the Celtics, we see a lot of ISO work, ISO ball. I think that cancels, but at the same time, it depends on how your coach has you to guard it. So, like, game 4, I saw the Timberwolves make an adjustment to where Anthony Edwards, as I stated after game 3, I said Ant has to guard Luka and McDaniels has to guard Kyrie because he has more length. And what do they do? What does Fincher do? He puts Ant on Luka. And what happens? Ant is able to get over those screens, and that helps a lot because when a guy like Rudy likes to hedge and show on the screen, it hurts if your guy can't get over it. And if you know ball, you know ball. And I think the Celtics have a different approach because depending on the ball handler, it'll be a lot different. Drew Holiday and Derek White are elite at getting over screens. And we know Luka likes to crab dribble a lot. And Drew has made it, looking back to, what was that, when they won the chip in 2021. DeRozan was like Luka a bit. Like, he likes to crab dribble, get you on his hip. But I think Drew's good enough to where it'll be tough because you can't go under the screen. Like DeMar, that made sense going under the screen because DeMar doesn't shoot threes like that. But Luka, Drew's not going to guard Luka, I don't think. I think it'll be Jaylen Brown, but it'll be the same thing. They both have to not allow for Luka to crab dribble and look for that lob with Porzingis on the backside or Al Horford, which I think will be good. Just seal him off and let him work. But that'll be tough. I don't think it'll be tough, but it'll be a main focus for the Celtics is that ball screen defense because we seen it a lot versus the Timberwolves. He'll get Ant or Kyle Anderson or Luka Wood or Jaden McDaniels on his hip, and Rudy has to step up, and that's an easy lob on the backside every time the Gafford or Lively or PJ Washington. So I think they'll do way better. The Celtics will be a better job guarding that than the Timberwolves did because I think they have the best defensive backcourt that we've seen in a long time. So I'm interested to see how they guard that pick and roll because it happens every time down the court. There's no ISO ball. Like we see how Luka used to be an ISO heavy guy, but now he's a pick and roll, and tries to get if he doesn't get the switch, then he tries to manipulate the defense. But and then that's basically my main point with this series. Other than the fact that if the Celtics have a healthy Porzingis, people need to stop trying to make the. No, I saw a comment that really annoyed me. It was like, why do nobody like the Celtics? We know why nobody likes the Celtics. They're one of the greatest franchises ever. But somebody said they try to make themselves underdogs. Do I think they're the underdogs this series? No. But what is the media saying? The Mavs are going to kill them? So they're the underdogs by default due to what? The media. But some things that I've seen, I've watched film on both these teams playing against each other in the regular season. And I tried to compare what this series is going to be to like what UConn did against Purdue. Zach Edey put up 40, but nobody else on the team was able to score. That's what I think the Celtics do. Luka puts up 40, like he did in their last matchup. He put up like 40 or 37 or something, but nobody else was able to contribute. Kyrie had, I think, like 20. Other than that, nobody else was able to contribute. And I think that's what the Celtics do this series. Luka's unstoppable force. He's going to get to the line. He's going to ISO. He's going to do what he does. Kyrie, same. But the thing with Kyrie's so tough. But we saw what the Thunder held him under 10 points in 2 games, and they still ended up losing the series, which is crazy to me. Kyrie he had single digits, and I don't even know who was guarding him. But a guy like Drew, they've played each other. They know each other. They know their games. So that'll be interesting. I feel like Drew's going to be locked on Kyrie for the entire – him or Derek White. And then the matchups would be truly, I don't know. Because, Luka's going to be – that's one thing that I got to get into as well. I'm not even trying to be biased. I'm being factual here. Luka is going to have to guard somebody for an entire series. Like last series, we saw him get his steals on Gobert, on Biggs. He likes to pull the chair, which is smart. That's a smart move. Luka's a very. That's why they call him Luka Magic, bro. He's a very. I don't know how to put it. He's a finesse. He has a lot of finesse to his game, especially on defense. I saw him pull the chair, and it works every time. It's so hilarious. But in this series, I think who does him and Kyrie have to guard somebody that's above average at scoring? I think Kyrie probably guards True. Derek Jones probably guards JB or JT. Luka. Who does Luka guard? Because when healthy, you have Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Porzingis. All those guys can go for 20. So I'm interested to see who Jason, unless they run a zone. Even then, if the Celtics get hot from 3, it's tough. But at the same time, that ISO ball might hurt the Celtics. No lie. But if they could, I think both teams have things that work well for them. They both are really good from 3, really good 3-point shooters. Teams, 3-point shooting teams who have stars like Tatum and Luka, Kyrie, Jaylen Brown. And I feel like it comes down to really that defense from the Celtics. If they can get stops, if they can stop the lobs, that's really it. Because those are there every time. If you don't play the pick and roll right. So I'd be surprised to see if they put Drew Holiday on Luka, or who somebody has to guard the ball screen. I think Drew Holiday is the best at doing that in the league, probably guarding the ball screen without getting caught up. So it depends. And then PJ Washington's gonna be an X factor here. PJ gonna be an X factor, truly, like he's been the entire playoffs. He's had to have to be an X factor. He's probably guarding Jason Tatum, which he can guard, but it'll be tough because JT is tough. But PJ is going to be an X factor. Of course, your guys Lively, Gafford are going to be X factors because the thing with them is they're tough in the pick and roll and being vertical on defense. But Porzingis, not Al Horford really, but Porzingis mainly. His ability to stretch the floor is something. Like last time they played each other, Lively had to start because Gafford wasn't the best on his guarding the perimeter. So because they run a 5-out set and that's tough to guard at times. But hey, I'm loving this matchup. Truly, I got a lisp. Truly, I said that the Nuggets, I thought the Nuggets were the perfect match. They're like one of the only teams that really have the Celtics number in the regular season. I feel like they were the best match when healthy against the Celtics. And people were like, bro, what are you talking about? We saw what they did to them for the last 2 seasons, even with the addition of Porzingis. So that was my opinion. I thought that the Nuggets were the best match for the Celtics. But the Mavs match up really well too. It's just, I think it's going to be tougher because when you have guys like the Timberwolves, where, for example, like when you really look at it, their only offensive threats are Anthony Edwards, Cat, sometimes Jaden McDaniels, and sometimes Naz Reid. Mike Conley's not an offensive threat. Kyle Anderson's not an offensive threat. Rudy Gobert is for sure not an offensive threat. So when we see Luka have to guard Kyle Anderson, they're like, okay, he locking that up. But I want to see Luka. If Luka locks up anybody on the Celtics, he's the GOAT, bro. Like, I want to see him have to slide his feet. Like, I want to see it. He's going to have to, and I want to see him prevail. I want to. If he does that, they win the series. Him and Kyrie. If him and Kyrie lock up on defense, they win the series. But I feel like they're gonna attack those two a lot. But yeah. Mavs looking really good. Jason Kidd, head coach. It's just so like Luka and Kyrie as a duo is so OP. Like it's not fair. It really is not fair. Like I'm being so dead serious. But it has been the Thunder really did a good job, even though they lost the series. The Thunder kind of had like their defense was actually really good, but when it came down to it, they sold the games. Like their defense on Kyrie and Luka for that entire series was excellent. That's the best you could ask for. Like Luka was shooting like 30-40% in some games, but he's better because when it comes down to it, he comes up clutch. And nobody can have like those two. When they're on, it's over, but when they're off, it's tough because nobody else can really create. Jaden Hardy, shout out Jaden Hardy, he's so tough. But other than those two, like that's the same thing. That's what with the Celtics, their whole five can create offense. For Dallas, it's really like Kyrie, Luka, of course. PJ can create some offense, but that's it. Like those guys, like Derrick Jones, PJ, Gafford, Lively, they thrive off getting set up by others. So it'll be an exciting series, man. I'm excited to see who comes out on top. I got Celtics. I got Tatum finally getting his respect. People hate on him for no reason. I know he hasn't clutched up. I was one of those guys, but you have to look beyond their faults. Like, look beyond the faults of players and just watch them for their game, bro. Like, they don't know you exist. We watching them hoop, bro. We love the game. We would love to be in the league, but guess what? We're not. So that's why, like, I don't really tend to dislike players like Tatum. I wasn't a fan because of like how he sold the first. I'm like, man, he don't got that clutch gene. But like, I think this is their year, man. Dallas could very well could say no to that and be like, nah, give it to me. But hey, I chose Celtics from the start of the season, so I'm a rock with them, of course. And I think a healthy Celtics team is scary to beat and hard to beat, actually. So, yeah, man, that's all I got today. I wanted to get on here, do some yapping about my finals predictions, blah, blah, blah. But I had that Alex Sarr post up, and I'm hopefully going to get to Zach and then probably Rob, Toppich. Who else is Montas Busalis? I'm gonna try to get to all those guys and do my draft breakdowns and comparisons and their strengths and weaknesses. It's not really that bad. I found a YouTube channel where the person has like a whole lot. He has like film on every lottery pick plus first rounders. So it's actually that helps me a lot. But yeah, until next week for sure. I got y'all with something next week. Post on Instagram for sure, a video. Just trying to get back into that mode. Now it's why not? But yeah. That's all I got for y'all today. Hope y'all stay safe out here. Have a good summer. School's getting out, so it's time to grind. And I'm out. Peace.